Thanks to AI's large language models, we can now discover more rare and classic firearms from around the globe, helping us bridge the gap between unfamiliar languages. This time, thanks to these tools, we've found a missing piece of the puzzle that takes us right into Central Asia. So, what is the story behind our first video on Central Asian firearms? It all started with a reel on Instagram. What is this gun? The man in the video is a Kazakh collector who owns an array of rare and unique items, books, swords, vintage lifestyle pieces, and more. This firearm is a standout in his collection. It's actually a Dzungar musket. From his video, we can piece together a brief but clear history. What exactly is this gun, and how did it end up in Kazakhstan? In Kazakh history, this type of firearm is known as Myltyk, which translates to black gun. It is also called Myltyk, meaning matchlock gun, and it stands as a powerful symbol of nomadic warfare and hunting heritage. This ancient matchlock arrived on the Kazakh steppe during the Dzungar invasions of the late 16th and early 17th century. Its design reflects the unique pre-industrial craftsmanship of the steppe, featuring a massive hand-forged iron barrel mounted on a handcrafted wooden stock. Because it's so heavy, it wasn't typically fired from the shoulder. Instead, it was supported by a dedicated bipod rested firmly on the ground. By the way, if you've been following my channel, you're probably familiar with bipod-mounted matchlocks from the Qianlong Emperor and part of the Qing Dynasty soldiers to the soldiers in the Indian subcontinent and part of West Asia. They all used them. We can even consider this one of the most iconic firearm categories in Asia. Now, let's get back to the musket in the reel. The loading process for the Myltyk was quite complex. Gunner used a wooden ramrod to pack coarse-grained gunpowder into the barrel before loading the projectiles. This was actually quite unique, likely due to the harsh environment. It wasn't easy to cast standard ram lead bows, so they often used the chopped lead pieces instead. After the shot was in, they'd add a small wad, like a piece of oiled cloth. Next came the primary powder, usually fine-grained, placed into the small pan. Ignition relied on an oiled wick or slow match, just like other matchlocks. When the trigger is pulled, the match ignites the powder and fires the shot. Despite its primitive mechanism, the gun was famous for its remarkable accuracy, with an effective range of up to 200 meters. Skilled hunters were sized to be able to strike a beast right in the eye. They preferred this because it ensured a clean kill, while keeping the valuable pelt intact. The gun's sturdy structure was exactly what allowed the hunters to achieve such precision. Today, the Myltyk remains a testament to the ingenuity and sharpshooting mastery of the steppe people. The Dzungar Khanate once occupied the territory that is now the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. However, it wasn't founded by the Uyghurs, but the Dzungar tribe of the Oirat Mongols, specifically the Chalras tribe, as a nomadic regime. It was the last true nomadic empire in human history. They practiced Tibetan Buddhism as their state religion, with their capital centered in the Ili River Valley. Back then, this area was known as Gulja, and while the city is officially called Yining today, it still retains its old name Gulja in the Uyghur language. At its peak, the Khanate territory stretched west to Lake Bokhash, east to Turpan, north beyond the Altai Mountains, and south into the Tarim Basin. the Dzungar emerged from the four Orient Mongol tribes, the Dzungar, Dorbat, Korshut, and Turgat, in the early 17th century. In 1634, Erdeni-Batru, Khanate, laid the foundation for the state. To clarify, Khanate is a Mongol title. Later, in 1678, Kazakh formally proclaimed himself Bolshevik Khan, unifying the Orient and establishing a centralized Dzungar Khanate. The following year, the Dalai Lama bestowed upon him the ultimate title of Bolshevik Khan, which means Divine Khan. The Dzungar army was well equipped, wielding a large number of Matchlock muskets and the barrack, those famous cannons mounted on camels. In history, the Dzungars engaged in prolonged wars with the Kazakh Khanate, competing for the vast Central Asian grassland. Among the four Western Mongol tribes, the Dzungars were particularly aggressive. From the 1680s to the 1770s, the Kazakhs were caught up in a series of conflicts. In 1723, Gazan's successor, Swan Ruptam, launched another massive attack aimed by Swedish officers, former Russian prisoners from the 1709 Battle of Poltava, who had made their way to these remote regions. The Dzungars launched a devastating invasion of eastern Kazakh lands. The memory of this national catastrophe, known as the Great Disaster, has never faded among the Kazakh people. To be honest, there are so many details to the Dzungar history. For instance, the unification of the three Hots by Myltyk Khan briefly turned the tide of the war, and in 1711 to 1712, a Kazakh counteroffensive even pushed deep into Dzungar territory. But since our main character today is the Firearm, we won't dive too deep into that. If we have the chance later, we can talk more about those khanates and their battles. So, let's get back to this thriving Dzungar manslaughter. Precisely because its intense and long-standing wars, Dzungar firearms and other relics have been preserved to this day in Kazakhstan, allowing us to see them in Kazakh museum, provide collections or historical documentaries. Actually, Dzungar muskets have appeared in our videos before, but those weren't real artifacts. They were just depictions in Qing Dynasty wall paintings. Because of constant warfare and the fact that this land was a crossroads for power struggles between Russia, China, and the Central Asian states, it's rare for historical pieces to survive such a long and chaotic history. I always thought Dzungar muskets had vanished centuries ago, and that we might only see them in artworks. But thanks to these reels, we can finally see the real scene and know that they actually survived in Kazakhstan. It was because of this footage that I shifted my focus to Kazakhstan. As I started digging deeper, the more I researched, the more I realized how many stories lie behind it, and they are incredibly fascinating. It's not just about Kazakh muskets, there are Kyrgyz muskets and more, far exceeding my initial expectation. These discoveries really got me excited and made me think maybe it's time to start a dedicated series on Central Asian muskets. This video is our first look at these Asian weapons. So, that is for today. Have a good day, stay safe, take care, and see you next time.